Welcome to the Shenanigans podcast.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, all, and welcome to this fortnight's installment of the Shenanigans podcast, Artist Edition, the podcast series where I interview artists who are not super well known, but should be. On this episode, I am joined by Minnesota-based indie artist Hala. Hala has been releasing music for a while now, with popular tracks such as What Is Love, Tell Me Is It Easy, Sorry, and Found a Way. He recently released an album last year called Red Herring, which you should all go and check out as soon as this episode is over, or now if you wish. Please all welcome Hala to the podcast. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fortnight's installment of the Shenanigans podcast, Artist Edition, the podcast series where I interview artists who are not super well known, but should be. On today's episode, I am joined by indie artist Hala. Let's go. How are you doing, Hala? What's the sizzle?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's always good. Where are you coming to us from?
Ferndale, Michigan.
Right, okay. Is that... I don't know where anything is in America. I'm not going to lie to you. All of the frequent listeners know this already. I don't even know where I am on the map.
It's about, I'd say 5 minutes from the Detroit city limits.
I don't know anything about America, to be honest.
Looks like a mitten, you know?
Oh, right, okay.
So everybody gives directions to everybody, like, I live here or here in Traverse City or something.
Right, okay.
Or something to show the geographic location.
That's really cool, man. Yeah. As usual, we always start off with a joke. Today's no different. Let's just get right into it. Two elderly couples have their weekly meetup at a table in their local park. They take a seat. The ladies chat with one another across the table, as do the gents. Fred asks Harold, "Are you still going to that memory clinic?" Harold says, "Yes, it's been helping my memory a lot. I recommend you come along to our next session." "What do they do there?" asks Fred. "They teach us to remember things through word association," replies Harold. Fred says, "I might have to give it a try. What's the name of the clinic?" Harold pauses for a while trying to remember. He says, hang on. What's the name of that beautiful flower, the one that has the thorns? Fred says, "That'd be a rose, Harold." Harold turns to his wife and says, "Rose? What's that name of the clinic I go to?" It wasn't that good. Don't worry. I didn't make it up. You don't need to give me sympathy laughs. It's cool. So, how have you been keeping yourself cool during this whole COVID situation?
Just writing a lot. I've been trying to keep my mind, keep it turning, keep the wheels turning, and starting back with school and just writing every day has kind of kept a solid head on my shoulders, you know. But I don't know. I'm bummed that we can't be doing shows, and I had plans last fall to go to Europe and do a string of shows there, and so that's been put on the back burner.
Yeah.
I don't know when.
That sucks, man.
I hope I can go over there and tour and stuff while I'm still cute.
Yeah, to be fair, the last years of my teenage life are being eaten away by this pandemic. It's tough for all of us, to be honest. It sucks. And I don't know how old I'm going to be when this ends, you know? Like, how old were you when this all started? March last year?
22.
22, yeah, exactly. So I'm assuming you're like 23 now then.
Yeah.
Exactly.
24 in May.
Exactly. So what if all of this carries on past May? That's 2 years, Ian. That's crazy. I'm turning 20 in June. I'm getting. I was about to say I'm getting old. I'm not. I don't mean it like that. But you know what I mean, though. Like I'm losing my youth to this virus. It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that have it far worse. It's just sacrificing a few years of
That's
your
true.
comfortable, known lifestyle is, not as great as a sacrifice as, what some people have been through in this situation. But I mean, I found that it's just like, it's not healthy to predict when it'll all be over and, when, like how old I'll be when that happens. 'Cause that drives you crazy. And it just makes you sad because you realize the time that's passing and,
That's true. I guess when we try to predict it, we just have to like knock on wood or something just to make sure we don't jinx it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So in terms of writing, I guess what's been inspiring you to write though? Have you been going on walks or something like that, or is it just you sit around and you just think of stuff to write?
Well, I don't really do like. I don't know. That's a tough question, especially right now because it's the middle of winter, and like 2 days ago we just got a foot of snow here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to do anything for a prolonged period of time outside. But I mean, I guess just out of kind of the boredom, the downtime in between stuff I might be doing. I just sit at the piano or pick up the acoustic guitar and just kind of let it be an escape for a minute. And sometimes it creates chord progressions that I like, and other times words will just pop into my head, and that's the makings of the beginning of a song.
Yeah, man, that's really cool. I love how sometimes when you're just sitting around just chilling, you can create something amazing without even trying. It's crazy how things like that happen. Yeah.
I'm not like one of those people that likes to like schedule a time that I'm going to be working on music. It's kind of the guitar needs to call out to me, or the instrument needs to call out to me,
Ian. Yeah.
Subconscious voice or whatever. And
I get that. Yeah. Is it like so it's more like spontaneous bursts, I guess, then of creativity?
Yeah. And sometimes, those they come in cycles or like waves, and sometimes, I'll be kind of submerged in a song for a day or two, and then it'll be another month until I write something that I think even comes close to that song before. But I mean, that's all about the process.
Yeah.
Not every song can be a hit, and it's each song that you write is helpful because it betters you in deciphering, ways you're going to go with production or writing, and there's no right or wrong or mistakes in songwriting, in my opinion. It's all subjective choices, and the end result is, how you feel about it is subjective too, I guess, where you're the person that deems if it's willing or not to be released or enjoyed by other people other than yourself,
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. How long does it usually take you to make a song then? Because I've had other people who I've interviewed say that they usually sit on a song for a while before they release it. So do you usually do that as well? Or is it, do you usually do that?
Yeah, sometimes, but that's mostly just because of timing a release and trying to do press and other things like that. So with my last record, like the songs were done and recorded and mastered and all that good stuff and then it was another 6 months until it actually came out.
Yeah.
But that wasn't because of something that I had necessarily planned or was like unsure of the songs or the collection of songs. I don't know. Sometimes the songs, like I can write one in 20 minutes, and then other times it takes me a whole day just to even think of like a verse line.
Yeah, I understand, man. Yeah.
It's different. It's different every time. So
Yeah,
it's hard to pinpoint one exact way that I do it.
Yeah, and I feel like when you see artists trying to, you can tell when an artist is forcing that stuff out, you know. Like I've talked about this before, but I mean, you probably don't listen to Chris Brown yourself, but Chris Brown released an album that had something like 52 tracks on it.
Wow.
What could honestly be the reason for someone writing 52 tracks? Because we all know that he didn't write all of those tracks himself. But what could be the reason for that? 52 tracks on an album. I mean, 20 tracks is too many, let alone 52.
I don't know how that got past the record label.
Honestly,
that body of work, like that length of you know, that's a lot of stuff.
have you ever made 52 tracks in your entire life? Like, have you even touched that length yet?
Probably. I mean, if you've taken the past couple of years, just little snippets of songs, nothing, you know, like I've probably done that, but they're not. There's some that I would never release, and there's some that like only were just 30-second snippets of like piano stuff that I was thinking about, you know.
Yeah. I understand.
I don't know. It's interesting though. I've been talking with some of my friends about kind of how, and this is kind of a tangent, but it kind of applies. Just the fact that without touring happening, it seems like we're heading towards more of a singles market, where I'm predicting, or I think it's foreshadowing, this, people don't want to take on a whole album release right now, because then you can't, you know, when you make merch for it, press vinyl or whatever you might do, it's hard to sell that stuff because you can't tour right now.
Yeah.
You can't promote that record. So I think what we're going to be seeing is more of a concentration on just the singles, kind of like how it was in maybe the mid 60s. Just people are going to put out singles every couple of months because that's more manageable, I guess, in that situation.
I don't know, because sometimes I look at old artists from back in the day, and I just think about how like I look at their Spotify's, right, and there's albums every single year for like, or every 2 years even, and they've got like 20 different albums, and it's crazy. So I mean, I don't know if they necessarily released loads of singles. I don't know if you have input onto that yourself.
Are you talking about like King Gizzard or Brockhampton kind of?
No, I'm talking about like older artists, like I guess Bob Marley or Alton Ellis or you know, people like that, if you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. I don't know. I think people were buying records a lot more back then. People were going to the stores every day, once a week. So a quicker turnaround kind of seems like it makes sense. Just in a lot of, back then too, the Beatles and Elvis, they had different versions that were released in the UK and the US. In a band like the Stray Cats, their first record I think came out in England. There was a different version in Japan and a different version in the US.
Yeah. And
so I think there wasn't kind of like, they weren't, how do I want to phrase this? The focus wasn't one specific project. It was getting a compilation more so of songs together and just kind of rapid fire, like getting them out wherever and whenever they could. and the distribution game has probably changed a lot since then. But I don't know. That's kind of my idea of why back then that stuff was happening.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. I feel like in this day and age, it's a lot more difficult to make actual good quality music, if you get what I mean. I guess because of how accessible music creation is. Like literally, if you have a laptop and you don't even need a microphone, I'm pretty sure Kanye recorded a lot of Jesus is King through an iPhone microphone, which is ridiculous. Like you literally just need a laptop and the internet, and that's all you need to make some music, you know? It's crazy. And
I love that though. That is, I mean, without that stuff, without all those things that you just mentioned, I don't know what I'd be doing. I love my iPhone mic. I do demos on it all the time. Sometimes when I don't have like a MIDI controller or a piano, I'll use the laptop keyboard. I think everybody should try out GarageBand or, Fruity Loops or whatever, Ableton. It's a great thing. And I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily by quality. Like, are you meaning from more of like a songwriting or like kind of the sonic, how the quality of the sound?
I guess you could say both, to be honest, because look, there's only so many times you can listen to random guys talking about how they've shagged my girl and how they've done like 20 perks and stuff. I mean, come on, I'm sure you understand as well. It could get a bit tight. Like, I've heard the same story, the same old song 20 times, just in different fonts, if you get what I'm talking about. I guess that's what I mean.
There's definitely a formula, that some people follow, and a structure. I think people are really conscious now of structure and kind of making it for the streaming platforms and, cutting intros. Getting people interested right off the bat, or starting with the vocal right off the bat. And people aren't doing fade outs on their songs anymore. Yeah. No long, drawn out 45-second fades, which I love that stuff in older music. And I've tried to do that stuff in my own. But I don't know. For me, like my biggest song on Spotify it's 3.5 minutes long, with an instrumental third verse. Like, it really kind of goes against the grain of all those things that I've kind of heard people talk about, and I don't know. I find that interesting.
Yeah, I think that's What Is Love? Is It Easy, isn't it? Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. That one. I don't know. I feel like sometimes your music just needs to find the right audience, I guess. Because this generation has such short attention spans, especially when it comes to listening to new music. Sometimes I'll show some of my friends a new track, and they'll click to halfway through the track for some reason after 3 seconds of hearing the first chord. Like, they've probably skipped past the best part of the song just because they think that they've got other things to do after this. It's ridiculous, no one... I'm not going to say no one, but it's difficult to find people who actually appreciate what goes into the music,
Well, that goes back to the accessibility thing that you were talking about, where, there's new music every day. Everybody can make music. I think maybe there's some devaluing, maybe, I don't know if that's the right word, of kind of like the appreciation for the journey and the process, just because people right now think everybody can do it. Everybody can do it.
Yeah, that's
so true. I believe that is true, and I believe that's a good thing, but I think it's maybe done something to the listener's ideology, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when, I don't know, like if you set a toddler free in the sweet section of Walmart or something, they're just spoiled for choice and they don't know where to begin. And I guess they might take a scoop of. All right, let's lose the sweet shop analogy and let's go to an ice cream shop, for instance. They'll take like a spoonful of chocolate, then a spoonful of like mint chocolate chip or something, and then they'll go through all of them rather than actually like taking a deep dive into that luscious mango sorbet. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's
I mean,
yeah.
too, it's like I do this too, but it's like tunnel vision. And with music, like I only want to listen to specific people sometimes and specific types of music, and I sometimes I have a difficult time breaking out of that and kind of appreciating other music or introducing myself to new music because I have such a distinct taste of what I want to listen to, and I think a lot of people feel the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I don't know what my taste is. I guess it's set like alternative R&B is at the center, I guess. Then the alternative R&B sort of branches to the side, kind of into some kind of like bedroom pop sort of stuff. Like, I don't know if you know Jacob Ogawa yourself. Like, not know him personally, but like know of his music.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Like he sort of branches off of alternative R&B into bedroom pop. Then there's modern rock, which is like Arctic Monkeys, and then you get like psychedelic rock, Tame Impala. I don't really listen to King Gizzard. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I like one or two songs. They're a bit too abstract for me. I'm not going to lie to you.
They've done everything. They've tried everything.
Yeah. How long have they been around? They've been around for a while, I feel like.
Probably like 10 years, I'd say.
Yeah, that's quite a while. That's about as long as Tame Impala now that I think about it. Yeah. Uh cool. I guess we can move on to the next question then. Um what does the ideal peak of your career look like as a musician?
I don't know. I've said before, I just want to write a song the whole world can sing. I don't know. I'd really like to be able to pay for my sister's college because ever since I was a little kid, and would talk to my parents and be playing guitar with them, and I would say, "I'm gonna be a rock star, blah blah blah. I'm gonna pay for my sister's college." So if I could do that, I think I'd be happy.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. I that's actually an interesting one because usually I hear people talking about how they want to be able to live off of the money that they make from music, but I don't know. That's a really selfless thing that you've just told us there, Ian. I really, yeah.
I figure if I can pay for her college, I could probably live off of it independently.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you won't be I don't know, like living off the street, just strumming your guitar and just like putting all of the Spotify stuff into a bank or something. Yeah, I get what you mean. Um, yeah, okay. So, what's your favorite musical memory then?
Huh. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe my dad taught me guitar, and basically from the moment that I could developed motor skills, I had a guitar in my hand and we would play together. And I don't know. It's not really a distinct, specific memory, but just like that time when I was just first getting introduced into music and songwriting, and having a mentor, and just that kind of like era or time period where I was really falling in love with music. That's really special to me.
Yeah. Do you remember learning the guitar yourself, or were you a bit too young to remember?
My dad, he taught me the beginnings, and then I kind of went off, and YouTube happened, and you could find how to play whatever jazz chord you wanted to to find.
Yeah.
So it kind of manifested into me figuring it out a little more. But yeah, I mean, that was what it was all about. Just me and him just playing classic rock songs for a while. It was great.
Yeah, that's amazing actually. Just being able to jam out with your dad. Like my dad, I don't think he's ever played an instrument. So that's, I don't know, that's a really big blessing you've you've been able to experience there.
Yeah, totally is.
Yeah. Okay. So I know that you perform with a band a lot of the time. Um, is that band? Does that band have a big part in the writing of your music, or is it all done by you?
I write everything.
You write
And
everything, okay?
I record everything as well. Like I play all the instrumentation. So I was really, I stressed it on my last record because I went out to Seattle to record it, and they were kind of like asking me like, hey, do you want to like bring out some like session musicians or some, you know, a drummer that can actually play? And I'm like, no, I want to do it all. And they really had to like pull my arm in order for me to get like string players in there. But once I realized, you know, the world that having a couple of, you know, professional violin and cello players, you know, that world that opened up, I was like, oh, I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah, exactly. The power, like, you just feel more powerful having people behind you, like backing your work, and like especially with bassists as well, being able to feel that bass through your feet coming up, like through your stomach and through like your chest. That's a powerful feeling. It makes you feel like, I don't know, like you're able to conquer every bar that you perform in, or, you know, I mean, what's your favorite place that you have performed actually?
Huh. Good question too. I like Chicago a lot. There's a couple of really good venues in Chicago, and I have some good friends there, and it's always a fun time. It's like play the show and then party in the city, and it's great.
Yeah.
I like playing in Detroit too. It's a little bit closer, you know, it's my close friends that come to the shows. So it doesn't, it feels more like a tight-knit kind of community thing, which is great. But yeah, whenever you go out, you know, in another city and play and people like it, and then like they want to hang out or party or like show you something cool in the city, that's what it's all about. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. You don't see a lot of artists interacting with their audience that much, you know?
I mean, it's weird when people hold themselves at that standard that, you know, I just don't think that's just weird.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the people that come to my shows are my age. You know, they're in school. They're, you know, they're living the same kind of, you know, they live in the same environment, and
Like you're literally in the same stage of life as these people who you're performing
exactly.
to. Yeah.
I mean, it's like I've met a lot of cool people, you know, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't see that often though. That's the thing. Like I'm thinking about mainstream artists like, you know, your Drakes, your Futures, etc., etc. And I'm just thinking those guys definitely don't interact with their fans once they're done playing a show. Like I'd imagine, I don't know, once they're done with the show, they literally just get into their car or wherever and just go back to the hotel to find some honeys there waiting for them or something, you know? It's, yeah.
I think it's probably a safety precaution mostly,
That's
especially when you get to that level. But
that's probably true. Yeah.
I don't see myself ever getting to Drake's status.
It could happen, you know. It could happen.
And stuff.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, 20 years ago, if you'd have been putting this music out, when you think about it, you would have probably been up there with like some super famous artists from back in the day. Like, I don't know, like I guess you get like your Tears for Fears, your people like that who made music a bit similar to you. Did Tears for Fears make music similar to yours? Did they have much acoustic stuff?
Um, I think a lot of Tears for Fears stuff. I mean, I only really know the hits.
Yeah, same, yeah.
But I think they have. I think they were doing more like psychedelic jam stuff, like that record, "Songs from the Big Chair."
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure that like half of that record is like really like on the psychedelic side, but more like with an '80s twist, you know.
Yeah, I understand,
I
yeah.
could be wrong. It's been so long since I've listened to that record in its entirety, but yeah, I don't know. That would be cool. Hall and
Yeah.
Oates too. I would have loved. Steely Dan. I mean, there's '80s. There's a lot of cool '80s music, and I just really. That was like, I'm interested in kind of like the analog gear a little bit, and back then they did everything on tape, and things like MIDI and drum replacement and stuff, all the nerdy stuff. That was
Yeah.
digital stuff. World was just beginning to start, so it would have been really cool to just be a fly on the wall in some of those sessions and just see how that workflow was. Because
Absolutely,
that
yeah.
interests me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, I'd love to have seen some of, some of the big records from the 80s, 90s. I mean, even before that, even the 60s. I'd love to have been just around just to see some of that stuff going down,
Yeah.
It would have been amazing.
Motown.
Motown, yeah, absolutely.
I just watched a real. It's on YouTube now, but it's free. So it's like this Motown documentary. It's really fascinating because they took a lot of cues from the assembly line, like the Ford, like the car manufacturer.
Yes.
And so that was kind of that influenced their process of kind of writing, recording, releasing, and doing it really efficiently. But yeah, funny enough, the building, the Motown, it's the museum now. I used to live in a house that was right behind it.
Right.
And that's where I recorded that record, Spoon Fed.
That's really cool.
I recorded it in the attic of that house during the winter. So I was like wearing coats while I was tracking.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, I mean,
I think I felt the energy from that building, kind of like.
you felt like, I don't know, like the spirits of you felt like the spirits of like your musical ancestors or something. Just like, I don't know, like, Ian, use this chord, use that chord. Yeah.
That was cool. Like I had a little window where I could see the museum, and just like, that was like, I would just sit there and think like, how would they do it? How would they do this? Because how I'm doing it seems wrong.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it sounds good to you, though, I guess there is no wrong way to. Yeah, actually, I'm thinking about it now. Okay, there are some wrong ways, but it's very difficult to find a wrong way to make music, though, if you know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's always a way in which you can tweak it to make it sound listenable,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. So back to the band question. I actually meant to ask, do you prefer playing solo or with the band? I suppose from what you said earlier, you were implying that you preferred being with the band, but I'm just curious as to what you think yourself.
I mean, when we were touring, it was always with the band. I mean, I would do solo shows every now and then, and those were fun. But I mean, I like playing with the band because we had like a mantra of that we just wanted to play fast and loud, and that was kind of what we were doing. We were taking my, silly love songs with a lot of acoustic guitar, and then playing them 10 beats faster, playing them louder, adding guitar solos where they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
and just yeah, I just like the change of energy is really nice, and it's kind of that's what I miss, is kind of having that the music, the recorded music, and then thinking about what would be the antithesis of that, and that would be the live show. Because when I record everything, I write everything, so it's going to be nearly impossible to replicate that in the live situation. So I figured, well, might as well just like play into that a little more, and just turn it into a real rock show, you know?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, actually, when I think about that. Yeah, that's really cool, man. Okay, unrelated. What's the story behind your biggest song? What is love? Is it easy? What that is right. It's what is love? Is it easy? Or what is love? Tell me, is it easy?
Tell me, is it easy? I
Tell
think
me, is it? Yeah, I mean,
the title.
you've got a lot of songs, so sometimes it can be tough to keep track of all of the names. But yeah, tell me what the story is about that. Was there a certain experience or person that led to you writing this track, or did you just want to write a love song?
Well, it's a little interesting. I don't know if it's too interesting in the story, but I was at that house behind the museum, and my buddy was home, and he showed me this guitar chord voicing, and I was basically playing around with that, and just found the chords that I really liked. Um, and I was like, okay, well, might as well. I'll record that tomorrow. So I basically go up to the attic in the morning, and I think I had recorded the music, and maybe because I was just feeling kind of lonely, that shaped the lyrics. I mean, they're not very complicated or artsy by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah,
But I think I might have taken 5 hours to record that.
really, that's a really short time to record a track, actually.
Yeah, I think by dinner time I was done with the song, and I was like showing it to my roommates.
That's
And,
really
and
cool.
I was like, I was telling them, I was like, I don't know, it's okay. I don't have a third verse. The bridge is kind of silly, like a bad jazz player would play those changes.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's good. No, it should be a single. And I was like, nah. So it never came out as a single. And then the rest is history.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's doing pretty well as well. It's got, hang on, wait, let me open up Spotify. It's got 16 million right now on Spotify. That's that's pretty good as far as indie artists go, you know?
It's been very, very helpful to me. I would like to thank the listeners.
Yes, yeah. Um yeah, okay, cool. One more question before we get into the would you take the deal thing. Um are you able to see which playlists that you're added to by any chance? Do you check that yourself?
Yes, but I don't really check it too
Oh, okay.
much.
I was gonna say, because a question that I was going to ask is, what's the weirdest playlist that you've seen yourself added to on Spotify?
Um, I don't know. I don't know if I could really answer that question. I think for the latest record, um, getting added to the bedroom pop one was kind of funny, just
Yeah.
because the majority of the record was made in a big fancy studio and on the western side of the country, and uh, I don't know. that I thought that was funny. Um, I guess maybe that was more based in some of the sonic choices I made uh, with the mixing, kind of trying to maybe dumb it down a little bit and make it a little more lo-fi, because I was scared of the good clean sound of my voice.
Yeah. I understand that. Yeah, that's it. But I'd be getting scared of my own voice as well when I'm recording music. So yeah, it's tough. It's hard out here for just, a small time producer like myself. Yeah.
There was
Um
last year, which was really was pretty cool. What Is Love got sampled in a Big Crit song, and like J. Cole's on that record, not on that song, but that was really interesting. I never thought the song would, I mean, it's just a 2-chord change for the verse. I don't know. And then it's a slow song, kind of slow song already, and they slowed it down even more.
Yeah.
But that was a really cool thing. I was bragging about that to my friends.
That is really cool.
J. Cole's on, and you know, Lil Wayne, and it was very cool. I was very stoked on that.
Yeah, that is really cool, actually, now that I think about it. Imagine being on the same album as legends such as Lil Wayne and J. Cole. That's crazy.
And I didn't even know it was gonna. Well, I got sent the track like a couple months before, and then we didn't button up the business side of it. So the day of the record came out, I was like out to dinner with my girlfriend, and you know, it was midnight, and I was like, oh, I gotta look up and see if the song actually made it. And that's how I found out it was released. And then I was like, oh, the song actually it's there.
That's really cool. Yeah. Yeah. So like, I've always wondered about sampling though. Like, so people get paid for their samples which are used in tracks. Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah. So samples are basically taking a chunk of the already pre-existing audio from another song and using that moment in your song.
Right.
So there's an interesting kind of maybe loophole in that is you can take basically do the same progression, just record it differently, and that doesn't count sometimes as a sample if you're not actually using that specific source of audio, but you're
right.
You basically record the same track, the same bed audio.
Am I thinking interpolating then? Is that the right word when I think about that?
I believe so, yes. I'm not too well versed in the sample kind of context, but yeah, I went to a little like seminar thing on it a while back, and I don't know, it's interesting stuff. How, because I mean, for me, like I'm not gonna pay, you know, some samples, even 3-second, 5-second chunks of a song, that can be thousands of dollars. Like
yeah, exactly.
50,000 even. I think I read somewhere that like Danny Brown on Atrocity Exhibition spent like $75,000 on just samples. It might have even just been for one track, but I don't know, whatever furthers the song. And when you can do something like that, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, like your low-key is scaring me now because I've sampled quite a few tracks in some of my own music, and I'm hoping that I don't get into trouble now.
If it's on SoundCloud, I think most of the time you can get around the copyright. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a lawyer. I am not a lawyer.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just stuff to think about. There's a bunch of like writing and articles on it, to read up on it. And the funny thing is it's ever changing as music is evolving and as streaming and the accessibility of recording and releasing music. Again, like, the sample kind of copyright stuff is changing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cool. I think that's a good place to go into our last segment. Would you take the deal? This being a segment where I present you with a pitch, but there is a drawback to said pitch. I think that pretty much sums it up pretty well. You'll understand when we get into it. So, would you take the deal? First one. If you are offered $5 million to be locked in a room with 20 minutes with a 50-50 chance that when you leave the room, you will either be 20 days into the future or 20 years in the future, would you take the deal?
So I'm locked in a room.
Yes.
I have to decide if it's going to either be 20 days or 20 years in the future.
No, so you're offered 5 million, right, to sit in a room for 20 minutes for yourself, right? So time will pass, 20 minutes of time will pass for you, but outside it could be 20 minutes, 20 days or 20 years into the future. And you'll get 5 million if you go into the room.
I don't think I'd take it.
Really?
I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to just leave a room and then end up, being what, 43.
I mean, no, you'll only be 20 minutes older.
Oh. So we're just fast. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You're taking the deal.
I'd probably. That sounds interesting. Doing some time traveling.
You can't go back though.
Yeah. Do you need a final answer?
I mean, like I can.
Like the TV shows. Like...
Honestly, that probably would be best. Yeah.
20 years in the future, $5 million might not buy you too much.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's say it's worth 5 million now.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take the chance. Because 20 days in the future, and then, 50-50. And if it's 20 years later, I'm still the same age. Yeah, that sounds interesting to me.
I'd consider it. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I probably wouldn't do 5 million though. 5 million is a lot of money now that I think about it.
That's tempting.
It's tempting, yeah. I still wouldn't do it.
Why wouldn't you do it?
Because like the idea that all of my friends, all of my family is going to be 20 years older, and I'll have missed out on so much. It just, I wouldn't want to risk that, to be honest. But 20 days, what will happen in 20 days? I mean, I've got exams coming up in less than 20 days. So
I would like to skip past that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But then again, if I skip those exams, then then again, I get 5 million. So I think I won't have to worry about exams if I have 5 million in the bank.
Yeah, I would be happy to do the 20-day fast forward thing, the 20-year. I don't know. I'd be bummed if that was the actual thing that happened.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's making me rethink my answer.
Yeah. Okay, next one. You will acquire all the powers/abilities of the superhero you choose, but everyone you love and care for will be in severe danger and risk of death.
No.
Really?
No. I mean, I'd like to be able to fly, but no. Hard no on that one.
I mean, you could just choose to be, I don't know, like friggin' Galactus or something, and yeah, just like be super powerful, and anyone who tries to fight you will. Then again, it's severe danger though, and risk of death. So I guess it's proportional to the amount of powers you have. Like you don't see the whole of the Avengers just fighting, I don't know, like the Green Goblin or something. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You always just see one superhero fighting, one small person.
I'd just rather be normal like I am and weak, and think that my family and the people I care about are doing all right, not have to worry about severe danger of villains.
That's true. Yeah, man. I mean, it would be a cool story to tell people, though. Like, hey, did you hear about that building that fell down the other week? Yeah, that was because of me.
I picked it back up.
Yeah, exactly.
And I glued it back together.
Yeah, man. Okay, next one. You can be completely protected from the dangers and despair of the outside world inside of a building that only knows happiness, and there will be bountiful quantities of food and money and many things, but you're trapped in there forever. And the only way to leave is to murder one of your only friends. Oh, goodness. This one's a tough one, you know?
No, why? Why? I mean, you gotta learn to take the good with the bad. You gotta the balance. The balance. That's what it's all about. I don't want happiness and pure joy every day, 24/7.
That's true, yeah. That's a really interesting philosophy and way of life. Yeah, you can't have too much joy in life, otherwise you'll begin to stop appreciating it as much.
I mean, that's even with songwriting. Like, if you're happy all the time, how are you gonna write a sad song?
Exactly, yeah.
You know, you need that balance of real experience.
That's so true, yeah.
That's how life should be. That's the healthy way. It just can't all be nice and easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Okay, I guess we can move on to the next one. Yeah, I mean, I personally wouldn't choose that. Yeah, no, I wouldn't choose that. I'm not killing one of my friends. Oh, actually, then again, I don't necessarily have to kill them. I only need to kill them in order to leave. So I'd consider it. Maybe. I don't know. There's only happiness and money and food in there.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do it still. Yeah,
That one's pretty obvious for me.
I think so, yeah. Okay. You will be the richest man in the entire world, but you live in a world after a nuclear war just after fallout. This one might be a bit obvious. It might not be as obvious as I think, though. I'm interested to hear what you think.
No. I mean, no. Just no. Why?
Really?
I mean, after a nuclear fallout, I mean, are we talking like apocalypse kind of where like money doesn't mean anything at that point, right?
You'll still be the richest person on Earth, though.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it either. Is that all? You've got nothing else to add?
That one is like, that one seems, again, pretty obvious. That's evil.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't be, you'd be the richest person on, in the world, but
Yeah, but that means nothing when you're the only person in the world, though.
what would you do with that money? What would you?
Bro, I don't know. Go take a money shower or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Okay, last one. Quantum leap power. 6 days out of the week, you will wake up in the body of a different person. You and your surroundings will stay the same, but your body will transform into someone else's.
No.
No?
No. So I would still be in my house, still wake up in the same bed, but just have a different body.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems too like no. I'm okay with myself.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, it could be male or female, actually. Like, you could end up going an entire 6 days just turning into a random female person.
But it's only for like one day, and then you're a different person, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I don't know. No. That's a no for me on that one.
No, it would be cool though. I'd consider. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that.
I mean, maybe for a week, one single week.
Yeah, one single week, I'd absolutely do it.
Yeah, I'd try that out.
Yeah. see, I don't know, like, it would be interesting to see how you get treated as a, like, because I see women on Twitter and Reddit all the time, like, complaining about how they get treated and stuff. And I feel like it would just be interesting. It would help me appreciate them more if I was able to go through what they go through for a week, if you know what I'm talking about.
Step into somebody else's shoes. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. It would be cool. Cool. So my last question before I let you go on your way, Ian, actually, is you are heard by everyone on Earth right now for 10 seconds. You get a microphone, it's connected to like the planet Earth. Everyone can hear you. It's translated into every language for 10 seconds. What do you say?
Hi, Mom. That would probably eat up 2 seconds. I'd probably sing something. I don't know. Ah, man. I'd probably end it with like peace and love, Ringo Starr style. Peace and love. I don't know. That's tough. I don't really have anything. If I had 10 seconds, I don't know what. I'd just say be nice to each other. What would you say?
What would I say? I'd tell them, go listen to the Shenanigans podcast, available on YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and more. But I probably would say that. I'd probably tell them to go listen to my music or something. Maybe go follow my Instagram, and I'd end it off with telling them to be nice, because I don't want to get flamed on Twitter for only focusing on myself, you know. Because I know that no matter what I say, I could tell them, I could tell people to be nice. Literally, I could just tell people to be nice, and people would be like, he only told them to be nice. He just wasted the biggest advertising opportunity in history. Like, it was a positive message. What do you mean? Yeah. No matter what I say, I'm going to get some negative attention from it. So
I don't really want to broadcast my voice for 10 seconds. I don't know if I could. I don't know if it's the challenge.
You've been doing it for about an hour now, so.
I'm not on like, Times Square, the monitor, It's not like
that's true.
In the movies where they take over their TV sets,
Yeah. Fair enough. Do you know what? I think that's a good place to end off this episode, actually. So, Ian, Hala, do you have anything else you'd like to say to the listeners just before we close things off now?
Be on the lookout for some new music soon, and stay safe, stay positive, and peace and love.
Peace and love, yeah. Cool. So, listeners of the Shenanigans podcast, Artist Edition, thank you for listening. Stay Shay-mazing, and I will see you all next time. And that concludes this fortnight's installment of the Shenanigans podcast, Artist Edition with Ishana Sumazura. I am, of course, Ishana Sumazura. Feel free to subscribe to this channel and click the bell next to it, or if you're an audio listener, simply subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. If you have anyone you'd like to see on the podcast, or if you're an artist who would like to make an appearance, feel free to drop me a message on any of my socials. See you all next time.